Start the video now. Had a court hearing today in the bankruptcy case and just had to get kind of off my chest of what happened. I don't think recorded or spoke about this case since the last time I had a hearing. And St. Luke's is, again, they sued me for $53 million because I helped a family that St. Luke's participated in taking their baby away. This was a really good family that their baby had a allergy to basically proteins. They were working with doctors, and he got dehydrated because they were trying different things. St. Luke's had the ability to give him an IV, so they took him to St. Luke's, and St. Luke's deemed him underweight for his age, called CPS, and Meridian Police came and basically took their baby away. The crazy thing is when they took the baby away, they had a foster parent waiting for them, for baby Cyrus to take him home. And these little parents, young parents, hadn't done anything wrong. They're wonderful people. She was breastfeeding, the husband works, providing, beautiful Christian family. And had done nothing wrong. And that doctor at St. Sorry, I keep getting phone calls. I'm not sure how to turn them off while I'm doing a video, so I think that's why it cut out. Hopefully they don't call back. But anyway, that doctor threatened to call CPS when they were in the hospital. And so they ended up staying a couple days longer, tried to make the doctor happy. And ultimately she ended up contacting CPS through another doctor anyway. Anyway, I exposed all this, and we got the baby back. And then St. Luke sued me, and they just buried me in the courts with millions of dollars of, they end up ultimately, spending, who knows how much at this point. It's got to be a couple $1 million just on their end, just to pay their attorneys. And I didn't really fight it. I didn't feel like I could counter their legal maneuvers, and so I didn't fight it. I didn't really participate, and a lot of people say that I should have. I guess they have their opinion, but all I would have done is legitimize their process. So they got a conviction against me of $53 million. And against Diego, the granddad of baby Cyrus, which is crazy. And the thing about it is they said that, and a lot of you might already know this, but they actually said that I did it to get money and to get fame. They said that I went and advocated for this mother and father and this little baby, that I did it for money and for popularity. And I guess that's the hardest to swallow. The key people in this that are causing, that are pushing this is the CEO of St. Luke's, Chris Roth. And of course, he's trying to protect St. Luke's because, they're a children's hospital. They're a big hospital chain. They run on a $600 million annual budget. And he's trying to protect, his corporation from becoming reputable for taking babies. But that's exactly what happened. This family was, just a beautiful family. And they had this little baby, and they loved him and taking care of him as their first baby. And then when he gets old enough, they're trying to feed him solid foods, and he starts like throwing it up, vomiting, and so he can go back on breast milk. And anyway, that happened. They were working with doctors, try to figure out what it was. You know, it wasn't nothing major. And then they tried several things, and you know, he was little. He was a little under what they call the BMI, body mass index. And they tried some things, and he ends up, you know, throwing up a lot. So they were worried about dehydration. So they take him to St. Luke's to get help, right? For medical assistance, to get help so that they can rehydrate him. They think, oh, they'll go in, he'll get, you know, they'll put an IV in him, and then they'll be out in a couple hours. Next thing you know, 4 days later, the doctor's threatening him, and they finally get out of there, basically under the doctor's, you know, control. And then ultimately, she calls the CPS. And maybe I'll just give you a little bit of background there too, because what happened was the doctor says, well, I'll release you from the hospital, but you got to go in to get weigh-in appointments. And so Marissa went, I think, on Monday to get which is Marissa's the mother. She went on Monday to get a weigh-in appointment. She went on Wednesday to get a weigh-in appointment. And she met with doctors in between that for the actual cause, not the St. Luke's doctor, her normal doctors. And then on Friday, Marissa was sick. Well, no wonder she was sick. She literally was held in the hospital, St. Luke's Hospital, for almost 4 days the prior week, up until the weekend. And then she's going to doctors and visits and everything else all that week. And Friday she wakes up, she's not feeling well. She's feeling sick. And so she calls into the doctor, the St. Luke's doctor doing the weigh-in appointments, and she cancels the appointment. And as soon as she canceled the appointment, Dr. Natasha Erickson from St. Luke's and Dr. Dykstra, or whatever you call him, he's a doctor or nurse or going to be a doctor, they call CPS. And Meridian Police comes and basically surrounds them at a gas station and yanks the baby out of their hands. And after they lied to Marissa and said that, you know, she could go with them, they get her in the ambulance and then rip the baby out of her hands. And then they take the baby Cyrus to the St. Luke's Hospital, where they have a foster parent that's waiting there to take the baby home that night. I mean, and the ambulance said that baby Cyrus was okay. I mean, the medical records are there. The doctor, the admitting doctor in the ER, Rachel Thompson, I think, or Thomas, I believe, Thomas, said that the baby had no life-threatening, that there was no interventions, and she's the one that said, you know, take to the foster parents, take the baby, you know, quickly. And it was just a kidnapping. That's all it was. It's just a damn kidnapping. Anyway, so the next morning, or that night, I get involved, and I demand at the hospital they give the baby back, and they arrest me. Trespassing, of course. And they convicted me for that. And then we rally hundreds of people, you know, ultimately thousands of people all over. And we have hundreds of people at the hospital. We start putting pressure on politicals. We put pressure on the judge and all those things. And we put enough pressure on them that they gave the baby away back to the parents after 6 days. And St. Luke's want to say no, and CPS just says, no, we were going to give that baby back to them anyway. That's not true, because the judge actually ruled that Wednesday that they were going to keep the baby in the state's care until the next hearing, which was the middle of the next month. But we put enough pressure on them that they gave the baby away back to the parents in 6 days, and it was a miracle. And I truly believe that we did the right thing. And everything I said and everything I did was honest and true. I just expressed this story to other people, exactly what I'm saying now. And a couple weeks later, St. Luke sued me. and went through the whole process, just buried me with tons and tons of legal documents, tens of thousands of legal documents, and got a $53 million judgment against me and Diego, the grandfather. And so obviously there's not much I could do about $53 million. They took my home. My home was worth about $1.4 to $1.8 million. I also used the shop next to my home, which was my shop, part of the home property. I used it for an income because I would work on trucks and so forth. So they took that income from me. And then also they took my commercial properties. And I had about, $3.5 to $4 million worth of commercial properties. They took all those. And that was a revenue to me. And, I'm saying we were very blessed. I mean, I was able to buy those commercial properties because I started a fleet maintenance business, a diesel truck shop. And I ran that for 25 years, became one of the, most reputable diesel shops in Phoenix, Arizona. And I also created a software for the diesel fleet maintenance industry. And I sold that, and that with those monies is what I bought the commercial properties with. And that took me, the first 40 years of my life to make that wealth. And then I bought these commercial properties, and now in just a year or so, not even a year, St. Luke's just takes it like nothing, and then they want more. They take about $5 million from me, and then now they're coming after me for the remainder of the $53 million. And so the only thing I could do is I go bankrupt, right? So I'm thinking I'm going to be able to go bankrupt. I feel that it's right, and so I file bankruptcy. And as soon as I file, here comes St. Luke's. And just so you know, before I filed, I had lost my home, moved to Utah. They're still chasing me. Before I filed, St. Luke's had 6 teams of attorneys after me in 5 different states. They were litigating in 5 different states against me and in 9 different courts. Think about that. All of them, all those legal teams have all these assistants and other attorneys, and they're litigating against me in 9 different courts. And I think what they believe is that they think I got a whole bunch more money, which they're incorrect. They've cleaned me completely out. At least I want to think that it's at least what they think. Otherwise, I don't have any idea why they would continue to be chasing me, because they know they have my, everything that I've made. They've done all the research. They've looked at it. So, I guess I'm giving the benefit of the doubt that they think I have more money. But to be honest with you, I think they're just trying to harass and hurt my family. Anyway, I appreciate you listening to this, because I'm kind of just going through the story and discussing it. So we end up to the point where, I have them litigating against me in 9 different courts. There's 6 attorneys in 5 different states. And I think that the only way I can have a future is to go bankrupt. And I filed for bankruptcy. And I exposed, all my, what I have left, which wasn't much. I said that, I have my tools. I have, the furniture and stuff that was in our house. I had $4,000 worth of cash is what I was trying to, keep, because I also seized all our bank accounts, by the way. So, we haven't been able to. We've been running on a cash basis for the last year. We can't own a bank account. As soon as we try to do anything in banking, they just grab it and seize it. And they've already seized all our bank accounts and any money we had in the bank accounts and so forth. They even seized my father-in-law's business bank account because my daughter or my wife was on it. And so that's how far they've gone. And anyway, um, so then I filed bankruptcy, and I basically, in the bankruptcy schedules, I say the things that I want, that I need, not want, the things I need uh, to be exemptions from them taking, like my wife's vehicle, my tools, my children's clothing, my clothing, of course my wife's too, and $4,000 worth of cash, and a couple other things I put as an exemption. And St. Luke's filed and with the court, asking the court not to exempt anything, that they want to take everything from me. This is a children's hospital, right? And they're wanting to destitute my children because I guess they're my children. Somehow that doesn't make sense to me. How in the world do they want to destitute my children, and then on the other hand, they want to somehow say that they're there as a children's hospital, one of their hospitals, children's hospital, to help children. And so, anyway, so then we had a hearing, and I told you about that hearing, and ultimately I went back to the judge and I said, look, it's your job to protect me from these people. So you do whatever you want to do. And today in the hearing, he just said he's not going to do anything. He's going to let them take it. That's what he said. He said he's not going to do anything. And so I guess, I don't know what that means. I guess that means they're going to take everything, even my children's clothes, even the little cash I have left. And so, we'll see what St. Luke's does, because I'm not going to negotiate with thieves, to keep my tools so that I can make a living for my family. I'm not willing to do that. These people are thieves, they're liars, and that's how they got the conviction. They lied to the jury. They said things like that, that I was a white supremacist, white supremacist that wanted to have the CEO of St. Luke's hung. That type of stuff. That's what they said to the jury. Just crazy stuff. And so they convinced the jury, and the jury's like, oh, this Ammon, he's got to be so bad. And next thing you know, $53 million judgment against me. And anyway, I'm kind of backing up. But so that happened in the hearing. The judge was pretty much just like, well, I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to protect you. I'm not going to rule. I'm not going to do any of that. And so that'll be very interesting, I wonder if the court will order that I have to just give everything to St. Luke's. Just give it all. And destitute my family. I'm talking about everything. Like clothes on our back, the little bit of cash that we have left, my tools, my wife's vehicle, like everything. And, don't worry about it. We'll be okay. We'll be okay. I'll got family, friends, and I'll figure it out. But I'm not wanting people that send me money or anything. I never wanted anybody's money. I don't want you to send money. What I want you to do is I want you to, stand up for what is right. Don't be sending me no money. I don't want your money. And I don't want you to think that you've done your job as a citizen of this country by sending me money after some place like St. Luke's health system has done what they did to me. I don't want your $100 or I don't want your $500 or whatever. What I want is justice to be served. And I'll tell you what, the head attorney on this is a wicked, wicked person. His name is Eric Stidham, and he works for Holland and Hart. And he is a wicked, wicked individual. And the fact that they would keep pushing and try to keep destroying my family the way they are, and it's authorized by the St. Luke's board of directors, and primarily who sits on the board of directors, Chris Roth. And I tell you what, I don't condone it, but I completely understand now why that murder happened to, what was his name? Brian Thompson of the United Insurance Group, or what, your insurance, whatever it was, United Insurance. I think it just happened today in New York, or maybe yesterday. Someone came up behind him and shot him in the back multiple times. And I don't agree with that, but I completely understand it. Because I suppress those feelings every day. I mean, I do in the sense that I'm a Christian person, and so I am not supposed to think that way. So I have to push that away constantly. There we go. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Okay, it looks like I'm back on. So anyway, as I was saying, I understand it because, I'm almost guaranteed that this person, this Brian Thompson, which, I don't want to speak things that I don't know, but I am assuming, because of the situation that I have seen and have been in, that person or his company had really hurt somebody, a family, or maybe a whole bunch of people. And they probably hid behind their lawyers because they could pay them millions of dollars and they could manipulate the courts. And, and that individual probably just saw the injustice and couldn't live with it and couldn't allow it to continue. And I'm totally guessing here, but I would bet, if I was a betting man, I would bet that that's what went on. And if they find this guy, I would bet that it comes down to an individual who was wronged by this corporation and by this CEO because they think they're gods. And just like Chris Roth, I mean, he's pushed this and pushed this, and he's got his buddy, Eric Stidham, his attorney, and he's given him a blank check. And they've just, Holland Hart's made millions off the donations that were given to St. Luke's. And people give those donations to St. Luke's, so they thought they were going to help a child out or a family out that couldn't pay their bills. And they're using it to pay high dollar, attorneys to punish their political enemy. And anyway, so then the hearing goes on. Basically, they had subpoenaed my wife. She's been through a lot of trauma, trying to get her to be interrogated. Listen to this. They actually admitted to the judge today that they were going to try to to interrogate my wife in St. George, Utah, in a hotel room. Can't make this stuff up. And so, of course, I objected to it, and I've been trying to, motion and get her out of being under this control. And, okay, looks like I'm back. And so the part of this hearing was, whether she was going to have to testify, or not testify, but, testify under oath in this deposition and possibly, testify against me. And the judge, he didn't rule on that. So hopefully he'll decide not to, put my wife through that trauma. I don't have any faith though. But I think, these judges they're so institutionalized, they don't think about people and their lives. They don't. They're just like the Sadducees in Christ's time. It's all about the law. The law has nothing to do with why the law was there or why the courts were ordered or organized. I mean, the courts were organized for the people, and the law was there to protect people. And it's completely eroded. And these judges, they go into elementary, into an institution, they go all through high school, they go into college, they come right into college, into law school, and they go right law school, right into the institutions of the courts or whatever, and then they stay in it until they're retired at, 60, 70 years old, and they've never, ever, ever had to deal with what we as a people have to deal with. None. They've been completely institutionalized. They don't even think about what is right or wrong, moral, good, bad, just, unjust. It's all just about the law. And the law has been corrupted because it's been eroded from case law clear to this point. For example, like the Fourth Amendment, the Constitution, which is, where they have to get a search warrant in order to search and seize somebody's property. Well, did you know there's like 460 something exemptions in the court? Where if an officer violates the Fourth Amendment, but he does it under one of these exemptions, he's not held accountable and it still holds up in court. That's called the erosion. That's corruption, or at least erosion of our rights, of the Constitution. That's why these courts, they're completely eroded. You can't trust them. And these judges, they do not have any perception of really what real people have to go through. They can only talk to lawyers. They don't even like to talk to normal people in the courtroom. And it's sad what's going on. And this judge, I'm not saying he's a terrible person. I don't know if he is or not. But I'm saying he's completely institutionalized. He can't even communicate with normal people. And yet he's trying to be some judge to judge people and what they're doing. And it's just, the whole thing is sour. And in fact, I'll tell you something very interesting. And the judge's not going to like this. But my brother was in on it because they subpoenaed my brother's company, who I'm working with. And they subpoenaed him. And so my brother was involved in it. And he was there. And he I thought, clearly and quite eloquently articulated what happened with baby Cyrus and how unjust it is what's happening to me now. And the judge listened to it, and then when he was done, this is exactly what he said. He said, well, that's an interesting spin on your interpretation of what happened. He actually used that word. Well, that's an interesting spin. And my brother was just clear, and he said it the way it actually happened. He was there. It wasn't hearsay. And the judge, he exposed himself. And then later he says, oh, well, that was probably a poor choice of words. Spin was probably not the right word, but it exposed him. He'll believe whatever the St. Luke's attorneys tell him. And anybody that's outside of the attorneys, the courts, he can't even relate to. He has no connection, nothing whatsoever. And it's sad. It's sad. But that's where we're at. That's where the courts are. And so, anyway, this hearing was crazy. I appreciate it. I've been rattling on for now 28 minutes. And I appreciate you listening, and hopefully you'll share this because, right now where we stand, this is another thing. I could go on. But right now where we stand is St. Luke's is asking that they take everything from us. I'm talking about, they've already taken my wealth. They've already taken my income. They did that a while ago. They took my home. They took, my farm, all my fruit trees, all of that. They took all of that. But now they want to take what we moved with. My furniture, my tools that I make a living with. And they want to take my children's clothing. They want to take the remainder of the cash that we have, my vehicles, so that we live 30 miles out of town. We transport our kids every day into school. And so that's what they want to do. And then on top of that, St. Luke's actually filed with the court to take all my stuff, but then not allow me to go bankrupt. That's right. They filed with the court, trying to get the court to not discharge the debt, to not allow me to go bankrupt. And so we have a hearing on January 13th on that. And the court accepted the motion and said, yeah, we'll hear it. And so now we have a hearing, and they're actually going to determine whether they're even going to let me go bankrupt. This is after 6+ months of the proceedings. So in the end, they'll take everything I got, even my children's clothing, my vehicles, my tools, everything, literally completely destitute us, and then not discharge the debt, not allow us to go bankrupt. So that they can continue to, every dollar I make, every $100 I make, they try to get it. And they'll do this for the rest of my life. How is that justice? Tell me. How is this hospital in any way even viewed as anything good? These people use the name of St. Luke's. They defiled the name of St. Luke's, because St. Luke's is probably turning over in his grave. Well, no, he's probably resurrected. So, but the fact that they would use his name and then do so much bad. This is the same company that pushed all the COVID that, thousands of people died in, because they put them on respirators and remdesivir and all this stuff that's proven now to be a killer. And they proven that they knew it back then too. Maybe not the lower levels, but the uppers did. And then they also, this is the one hospital out of only 13 hospitals in the United States that will perform sex change surgeries on minors, on little children. This is St. Luke's. And, the fact that they have been allowed to do what they're doing and they still have a reputation and, I don't know. Of course, I'm sour. I am sour. I'm sour of the whole thing. And I've just wanted them to leave me alone, leave my family alone, but they will not. They will not. And they want to harass me for the rest of my life. So, anyway, thank you for listening.